you will be introducing myself. My name is Sabrit Saxena, and I'm the founder of Teenage Career Forum. I'm a career counselor. I've held more than 7,500 plus students in last almost 7 plus years. Prior to that, I carry an experience of working with corporates like Tata Power, Accenture Strategy. I've worked in India and abroad, right? And then when I realized that I myself was in a wrong career, that was engineering, then I pivoted, and then my journey began to explore, to figure out what is the most suitable career option for me, and that's where I landed into this career, which is helping students make an informed career decision. Okay? So from past 7 plus years, I have been helping students and parents make an informed career decision for their children. So that's a brief background about me. Now, directly now we'll be moving into today's topic, which is how to scientifically understand your child's interest and talent. Yeah. But before we move forward, I would just request if you can just share in which class your child is studying right now and from which city you are joining in. So it will give me an idea uh, about my audience. And definitely, I will be taking some of your questions as well in the times to come. So if you can just quickly introduce yourself, in which class the child is, from which city you are joining in, that would be great. So meanwhile, you do that. Let's begin the thing. So, how to understand the child's interest and talent? It's a very common question which parents keep on asking me. It frequently comes to us, this query, that how do we understand what is the true interest of the child, right? And today's session will be a bit technical kind of, but I would request all of you to please make notes, because these are the informations which you would be hearing for the first time. You might not have heard about this, okay, earlier. So it would be great if you have a notepad and pens with you, so that it will help you to analyze your child better, right? You can use these frameworks uh, and then figure the things out, right? So I can see many of you have mentioned in the chat box. So Sonia says the child has started grade 10th, perfect. Motorola Edge 40, my son is in class 10th and you're joining from Bangalore. Okay, I would request you if you can just rename your device. Dipesh says entering in class in 12th. The child is entering in class 12th and from Pune. Perfect. Rimesh says entering in 11th and from Pune. Thank you all of you for mentioning from uh, and sharing about it. Perfect. Ashwin says class 10th moving to 11th, joining from Lucknow. So all of you, thank you for mentioning that. So there are three things which I will be covering in today's session. Please make a note of it. It would be very helpful. Okay. First thing is we will try to understand the API of the child. Aptitude, personality, and interest. How to figure out what kind of aptitude your child is carrying, what type of personality he or she carries, and what are the interests where the child is inclined. So that's the first thing. Second thing, what I will be covering is we'll be deep diving into something which is called as Vedic wisdom. How earlier during the Gurukul times, how the acharyas used to understand the strength of the child and accordingly guide what kind of career would be suitable for them. So we'll be touching on that by understanding the gunas of the child. What kind of gun the child is carrying. So we'll be touching that as well. That I will be sharing from the Vedic philosophies and what Bhagavad Gita says. So that is the second portion which I will be covering. And third is I will be giving you some common frameworks, common simple frameworks which would be helpful for you as a parent in day-to-day life to figure out the child's interest and areas in which towards which the child is inclined more, right? So these are the broader three topics which I'm going to cover, right? So let's begin with the first thing, that is understanding the aptitude, personality, and the interest of the child. So many times what happens is parents comes to us and we have seen this often, that they are making a career decision based on just the interest of the child, which is not correct, because interest is a very fluctuating parameter, and you will find that changing. Sometimes the child will say the child wants to do this, maybe a few months down the line the interest will change, right? So it's a common behavior, nothing wrong about it, but we need to understand we should not solely depend on the interest of the child. So that's the first thing which we as a parent have to take into consideration when we are making a career decision, right? Apart from interest, we also need to understand what kind of aptitude the child carries and what kind of personality as a whole the child carries, right? So let's look at what is this API framework. So when we say API, it means first is A refers to the aptitude. What do we mean by aptitude? Aptitude means natural ability of the child. बच्चा naturally किस चीज में बहुत अच्छा है, right? So that represents the aptitude. You'll find some children, they are really good with numbers. Numerical aptitude is on a higher side. They are very comfortable with numbers. Okay, you'll find such children doing very they can calculate very fast, they can understand the numerical concepts very well, right? So that represents that the child is very much comfortable with numbers. And in if that is the case with your child, career options like getting into the field of finance, actuarial sciences, data science, core mathematics, okay, where the numbers would be utilized, can be suggested for the child. So that's the first type of aptitude which we can look at. Second is verbal aptitude. When we say verbal means ability of the child to communicate, how well the child can speak and write. So the writing, speaking, and communication skills represent the verbal aptitude of the child. If the verbal aptitude of the child is good, career options like getting into the field of journalism, advertising, copywriting, book publishing, right? Those careers could be suggested for the child if the verbal aptitude is on a higher side. Coming to the third type of aptitude is mechanical aptitude. When we say mechanical means the fascination for machines or electronic items. Okay, you'll find some children, they are really fascinated by machines, they are really fascinated by electronic items. If some mechanical equipment is not working at home, they will try to open up, they will try to figure things out. So that's a representation that the mechanical aptitude of the child is on a higher side. In that case, career options like getting into the field of engineering, core engineering, becoming a pilot, okay, where the child gets the ability to work on machines, right, could be suggested. So that's the third. Fourth is reasoning aptitude. When we say reasoning means you'll find some children, they are very curious, investigative. They ask a lot of questions, right? If they like something, they will deep dive into that and do research about it. So that's the reasoning aptitude. If the child is having a higher reasoning aptitude, career options like getting into the field of law, research, getting into the fields of research and development could be suggested for the child. Then comes fifth, which is special aptitude. Special means understanding of three-dimensional figures and patterns. Okay, understanding how this particular design will look like. Okay, if the child is able to visualize things in a much better way, visualize three-dimensional figures in a much better way, it means the special aptitude of the child is on a high side. If that is the case, career options like getting into the field of designing, getting into the field of architecture could be recommended for the child, right? So this is the first aspect which we need to cover and take care of when we are making a career decision. That is to find out what is the natural ability of your child. And this is something which naturally comes. You'll find some children, they are really good with numbers. Okay, some children, they are really good with communication skills. Some children can be really good with designing, right? Some children are very curious. Some children just loves to play with machines and have a fascination for machines, right? You don't have to force them. It comes very naturally. So these are the 5 different aptitude parameters which we see. We need to consider when we are making a career decision. Typically, you will find that the child will be having 2 dominant aptitudes. Either it could be combination of numerical and mechanical. It could be a combination of mechanical and special. It could be a combination of numerical and special, right? So 2 dominant characteristics, like aptitude characteristics, that your child could carry. So my question, before we move on to the second aspect, that is the personality, I would like all of you to please type in the chat box, what are the top 2 dominant aptitudes which your child carries? Which are the 2 dominant aptitude which your child carries? If you can just type that in the chat box. I hope you are able to understand this, that how to figure the aptitude of the child, the natural ability of the child. So let me read out some of the pointers which you are sharing. Okay. So meanwhile you are typing, let me move to the next aspect, which is the personality of the child. Okay, so I can see some of you have already mentioned, right? So Sonia says reasoning and special. These are the two aptitudes which are on a higher side. Perfect. Thank you. Radha says verbal and special. Thank you so much. Perfect. Thank you. Now, let's move to the second aspect, which is trying to understand the personality of the child. When we say personality, when we look at the personality, what do we mean by personality? Personality means how does the child think, feel, and behave? बच्चा सोचता कैसे है, बच्चा डिफरेंट सिचुएशन में कैसा फील करता है, और बच्चा बिहेव कैसा करता है, राइट? सो this is a representation of the personality of the child. When we say personality, again, within personality, we need to consider different parameters and orientations. Okay. First is learning orientation of the child, which is a part of the personality. When we say learning orientation, it means what is the learning style of the child? बच्चा सीखता कैसे है? Right? What is the learning orientation of the child? Whether the child learns through practical, logical sense, book-based learning is something which the child enjoys more, or the child is more imaginative, experimental, and innovative kind of learner. Some children will learn from books, but you'll find some children will learn out of the classroom by doing experiments, by doing through their imagination and innovation, right? So again, we need to understand what is the learning orientation of the child. Suppose the child carries a very imaginative and experimental kind of learning orientation, and you are putting the child into a career which requires more of a practical and logical kind of learning and book-based learning. That is not going to help. The child will become frustrated in that particular career. Yeah. So very important to understand what is the learning style of the child. Coming to the second aspect, conscientiousness. What do we mean by conscientiousness? Conscientiousness means ability to exercise self-discipline. बच्चा self-discipline कितना exercise कर पाता है, right? So you'll find some children, they are very focused, disciplined, organized, and responsible. Okay, so that represents that the conscientiousness is on a higher side. But at the same time, you'll find some children, they are very easygoing, impulsive, random, and they procrastinate before doing some task, right? So that is also something which we need to look at. So conscientiousness in today's time, because we are living in a very distracted world, it's important that we inculcate these habits, like becoming focused, okay, becoming more disciplined, becoming organized, plan your day. Okay, these are the taking the ownership of whatever the task the child is doing. That ownership is very important. Okay, so again, this is the parameter which we need to look at when we are looking at the personality of the child. How easily the child is able to exercise the self-discipline. And trust me, in today's time, procrastination, laziness, randomness, impulsive nature is not going to help. It's not going to help. We are living in a very competitive world. So from the childhood onwards, we should start inculcating these good qualities like becoming focused, disciplined, organized, planning your day ahead, making your bed, right? So that's the second part of the personality. Then comes third type of personality orientation, which is emotional orientation. How does the child handle their emotions? अपने emotions को कैसे handle करता है बच्चा, right? Whether the child is calm, composed, and resilient in tough situations, or the child becomes sensitive, anxious, and nervous, right? In the situation which are out of their comfort. What is the behavior that child possesses? How do they are handling their emotions? Do they stay calm and resilient, or they become sensitive and anxious? That's also something which we need to take into consideration when we are opting for a particular career option, right? Fourth is attitudinal orientation. Attitude means the way of response of the child. How will the child respond under certain situations, right? So some children will respond in a very tough and competitive manner. If a problem is thrown to them, they will fight back. They will be very tough. They will be very competitive. I have to win. That kind of attitude they will carry. Some children may not carry this attitude. Some children can be very generous and cooperative, right? So they would be very generous, they will be cooperative, they'll not go into a competitive zone, yeah, but they will take people together, right? So again, these parameters are also important while deciding a career option, because some careers will require the child to be very generous in nature. Some children will require the child to be very competitive and numbers driven. For example, career option in the field of marketing and sales will require the child to be very competitive, on the edge, making the sales target complete, right? Some options like getting into the field of psychology may require you to be very generous and humble with people, right? So again, attitude is one of the parameters which we need to consider under personality. Next comes interpersonal orientation. When we say interpersonal orientation means preferred way of interaction. बच्चा interact कैसे करता है? How does the child interact? Okay, what is the preferred way which the child prefers to interact? So some children you will find they are very quiet and introvert. They want to stay alone. Okay, they will not have a lot of friends, right? They get energy by being in solitude, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. You can see people like Bill Gates, Nelson Mandela, all these people were introvert, right? And in the kind of distracted world we are living, being an introvert is a strength, because for extroverts it's easy to become distracted more, right? So what is the preferred way of interaction, whether the child is more quiet or introvert, or the child is more social and extrovert kind of child, also plays a crucial role in making a career decision. Suppose a child is very introvert, okay, but you have put the child into a career which demands the child to talk to a lot of people on a daily basis. The child will become frustrated in that career, right? So again, this is the fifth orientation, which is a part of personality that we need to consider when we are looking at the personality of the child, right? So 5 factors which we need to consider. First is the learning style. How does the child learn? Okay, within which we looked at book-based learning or more of an imaginative, experimental kind of learning. Second, we saw how much the child is able to exercise his or her self-discipline. There we saw whether the child is focused, organized, disciplined, and responsible, or the child is more easygoing, impulsive, procrastinates on things. Third aspect which we saw was emotional orientation. How does the child handles their emotion, whether the child is calm, composed, and resilient, or the child is more sensitive, nervous, and anxious. Then we saw about the attitude. How does the child respond under different situation? What kind of attitude the child carries, whether the child is more tough, competitive kind of child, or the child is more generous and cooperative. And fifth is what kind of interaction the child prefers, whether the child is more of a quiet and introvert person or a social and extrovert person. So that this is the second thing which we need to consider when we are choosing a career. First we saw the aptitude, second we saw the personality, and now we'll move to the interest of the child. Okay, what are the factors we need to consider when we are looking at the interest of the child? Are you able to understand till now? Just give me a yes in the chat box. If you are able to understand, just give me a yes so that I can get an idea that yes, you are able to understand the things which I'm explaining. Perfect. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Motorola Edge. I would request if you can just rename yourself. Thank you, Radha, for mentioning that. Perfect. Now let's move to the third. Thank you, Saurabh, for mentioning that. Now, the third aspect is the interest of the child. When we say interest means natural selection of the child. What will the child naturally select? If there are 3 options given in the front of the child, there are 3 sweets. One is gulab jamun, one is rasmalai, and one is gujia, right? So what out of these 3, what naturally the child will pick up? That represents the interest of the child. So when it comes to career selection, we need to look at what are the different interest parameters which we as a parent need to analyze. Some children are artistic in nature. When we say artistic interest means these children are creators. They will love to create. They will they will be good in some kind of art forms, either it be dance, drama, or drawing, or sketching, or painting, or playing instruments, right? If that is the case with your child, it represents that the artistic interest of the child is on a higher side. Okay, so that's one. Second is investigative interest. When we say investigative, means these are the children who are thinkers. If they like something, they will deep dive and do investigation about it. They will read, they will do the chat GPT, they will, watch videos related to that topic. If that, so that's a representation that the investigative approach is on a higher side. Such children are usually inquisitive, they do deep research, and they love to analyze things, right? So that's the second interest, which is the investigative interest. Third is social interest. So when we say social interest, social means these children love to help others. दूसरों को हेल्प करना इन्हें नेचुरली बहुत अच्छा लगता है. Normally, you will find such children are very caring, helpful, and very responsible citizens, right? So if that is the case with your child, it means that the social interest of your child is on a higher side. Yeah. Fourth is enterprising interest. Enterprising means these children are persuaders. They influence others. They will influence others. They will lead a team of people. If suppose some event is happening in your school or in your society, you'll find these children taking the lead in extracurricular activities, in annual day functions, in whatever functions happening, right? So they are the persuaders. They are the enterprising people. Enterprising people, right? They are naturally leaders, right? They have the capability to push others and take others along with them, right? So that's the representation that the enterprising interest of the child is on a higher side. Then comes conventional interest. Conventional means these children are very planned and organized in nature. They're very planned. They will always follow step-by-step process to execute things, right? They will not, they thrive in places where you have structured environment. Okay, they do really good in structured environment, structured places. If you give the task, they will break those tasks into small steps, and then they will do the step one, then the step two, then the step three, right? So that represents that the child is having an conventional interest. Then comes realistic interest. When we say realistic, these children are doers. So these are the psychological terms. Okay, whatever I'm sharing, these are psychological terms, but I'm trying my best to explain it in a simple language so that you can also understand what type of interest your child is carrying, right? So when we say realistic interest, realistic means these children are doers. They use their physical strength. They would like to work with hands rather than just sitting and using their mental thought process. Okay. For people who have high realistic interest, they can't sit in one place and work on laptop. Not possible for them. If you put them into a career which is more working in front of the laptop, their physical energy will not be channeled, and then they will become frustrated in that career. So we have to be cautious about these parameters when we are making a career decision. Okay. Now, so many a times what we have seen, and it's very common, that parents usually go with the interest of the child. And when we ask interest, they don't categorize in this format. They just look on some of the aspects which the child says, the hobbies and all, and then they feel that because this is the hobby which the child is carrying, this is the interest, and we should go ahead with the child's interest. But be very cautious. Interest should not be the only parameter on which you should choose the right career for your child. Please note that interest is a flickery parameter, very fluctuating parameter. You'll find the interest of the child constantly fluctuating and changing. Constantly fluctuating and changing. 6 months before they will say something, after 6 months their career interest will change. Okay, and that's natural in teenagers. It happens in almost most of the students. So nothing to worry on that part. But making a career decision just on the basis of interest is going to hamper. We see cases, we handle cases on daily basis where we see that parents comes to us in mid of class 12, end of class 12, they have prepared for 2 years for a particular competitive exam, either it be engineering or it be medical sciences or it be law designing, and then the child has quit. The child says, I don't want to do. The child has already spent 2.5 lakh rupees on the coaching of the child. And then the child says, no, I'm not going to do this. Right. So all three parameters have to be taken into consideration when we are making a career decision. Right. So what is the best way when we are choosing right career? Right career lies at the center of all three. Okay. It should be the combination of right aptitude. It's a combination of aptitude plus personality plus interest. Okay, these three are important. All three has to be taken care in order to land up into a right career option. Okay, so this is the first framework which we need to look at. How to understand this? For that, there are psychometric assessment tests. Okay, there are psychometric assessments which helps to understand these parameters कि बच्चे का एप्टीट्यूड कैसा है, किस में ज्यादा डोमिनेंट एप्टीट्यूड क्या है, पर्सनालिटी कैसी है और बच्चे का इंटरेस्ट कहाँ पे जा रहा है. Right, so this is the first framework which we can consider when we are trying to understand the child's interest and talent. Right. Just give me 1 second and I will be back, and then we'll go to the next thing, which is trying to understand how to understand the gunas of the child, which is a Vedic concept which I will be sharing with all of you. Just give me few seconds, I will be back. Okay, so yes, I'm back. So are we clear till now? Just give me a yes in the chat box if you are able to understand this. Did you get some idea? Just give me a yes in the chat box. Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Perfect. So thank you so much. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you, Radha. Thank you, Dipesh. Thank you, Sonia. Perfect. Thank you. Now, so if I have to just quickly summarize into this, a right career lies over here. It lies at the intersection of aptitude, personality, and interest. Right? Aptitude, personality, and interest. This is where the right career lies. Right career option. Okay. Now, let's move to the second aspect, which is understanding how to understand the. So earlier, how the career decision used to happen. Let's look at some Vedic knowledge from Vedic sciences, which will help us to understand it better, right? So, so earlier, if we look at our Gurukul system, yeah. If you look at the Gurukul system, Vedic Gurukul system, how the career selection used to happen. In Gurukul, what happens was children used to stay from 5 years to 25 years. Okay. Children used to come and stay under the direction of a teacher. Okay. So there will be a teacher. There will be a teacher, and then there will be multiple students. Who will be staying in that ashram for almost 20 years under the guidance of the teacher. Right. So this particular, the teacher, what they used to do, they engage these students in different activities. They will do farming, they will read scriptures, and Vedas. Okay. They will learn about different types of skills, like कैसे हमें बो एंड एरो चलाना है ना, बो एंड एरो कैसे चलाना है, ठीक है. दे विल डू कुश्ती, right? So multiple activities, the teacher used to engage these children. Okay. And then accordingly, they used to figure out which child is good in what activity. Okay. And that used to happen based on the gunas of the child. What kind of gun these students are carrying, what type of gunas, okay, they are carrying. So scripture says that typically this material world works under the direction of three gunas, okay, three modes under which this material world works. Okay, one is sattva, second is rajas, third is tamas. Okay, sattva means mode of goodness. Rajas means mode of passion. Tamas means mode of ignorance. Okay. So, and on that basis, then the world was divided. Whether the child should get into a field which is Brahmanical field or Kshatriya field, or it should be Vaishya field or Shudra field. Right. So suppose if the mode of goodness is very high in somebody, they should get into the field which is more inclined towards teaching and education. In somebody, if the passion is on a higher side, mode of passion, okay, and we'll cover this in detail. I will be showing in the mind map. I'm just giving you a brief background. Okay. If somebody is having a very high passion, for them, a field of defense would be more suitable. Okay, and similarly, Vaishya is a combination of passion plus ignorance, right? So this was the methodology which the gurus used to take into consideration when they are trying to figure out what career option will be more suitable for the child, which ashram would be more suitable for the child, what varn should be more suitable for the child. So let's take an example of Arjun. Okay, Arjun was a warrior. He was a fighter. Why he was a fighter and warrior? Because in him, he has a very high passion. Mode of passion was very high. If suppose, that's why Arjun was a Kshatriya. His guru instructed him to become a Kshatriya. Okay, don't become a Brahman. What will happen if Arjun would have become a Brahman? Brahman means a knowledge giver, a teacher. If Arjun would have become a teacher, in that case, what problems would come? Because the passion is very high, and if the Arjun is teaching to somebody, and this person is not able to understand, because the mode of passion is on a higher side, then Arjun could beat that person. Because उनके अंदर mode of passion बहुत high है, उनके अंदर वो patience कम है, right? So it's important for us to understand the child's temperament. अगर किसी के अंदर सत्वगुण ज्यादा है, तो उसको वैसे career options में डालिए जहां पे the child can stay calm, can process things, can enjoy reading, right? But if the mode of passion is on a higher side, put the child into a career option which is more towards ambition, leadership, those kind of roles, right? So this is just a background which I'm telling. This is a very deep topic which I cover in my detailed sessions. Okay, but just to set the context कि बच्चे को जब हम नेचर समझ रहे हैं तो उनके गुण को अंडरस्टैंड करना बहुत जरूरी होता है. Right. So how to understand that? Let me go back to the mind map so that you can understand this concept. So I've broken these three gunas into subdivisions, and let me share that. So three types of guna. First is sattva, second is rajas, third is tamas. Okay. When we say sattva, in sattva, what are the key traits of people who are more in sattvic zone or sattvic gun? Okay. You'll find such children being curious. They're very thoughtful, reflective. They would prefer meaningful conversations. Okay. You'll find such children interested in psychology, philosophy, spirituality. These areas will fascinate them. They will have a calm personality. They would be very ethical in nature. Okay. They will prefer depth into something over competition. So these are some key traits which children having high sattva nature will have. What are the natural strengths of that kind of child? They will be good in research, teaching, healing professions, advisory roles, and knowledge creation. These are the natural strengths of somebody who is carrying more of a sattva kind of guna. Childhood indicators which you can follow or check. What are the childhood indicators which we as a parent could have a check on? So you'll find such children asking a lot of deep questions. These children you'll find reading a lot. They will be very empathetic to others. Calm in nature. What career options aligns to these children? If you look at the career options, these are the options. Can you see it? Education and teaching, psychology, spiritual and social career options, creative intellectual like becoming a writer, author, healthcare, strategy. They can become a good strategist. Okay, they can get into research, become scientists and policy researchers, right? So these are the different career fields in which the child can get into if the component of sattva is on a higher side inside the child. सत्व गुण अगर ज्यादा है बच्चे के अंदर तो ये करियर ऑप्शंस को हम देख सकते हैं, right? So that's the first parameter which is looking at the sattva gun of the child. Second is rajas. What do we mean by rajas? Children with high rajas, you'll find these traits. They are very ambitious. They are very competitive. They will not sit at one place. They're always, their mind is constantly, constantly their mind is overthinking. दिमाग हर समय चलता रहता है. They like challenges. They want recognition and success. You'll find usually such people very high on energy. They carry leadership qualities and they are very goal oriented. So these are some of the traits with children who have high rajas in them. Natural strengths, leadership qualities. They can do good in sales and pursuing. They can do good in business creation, entrepreneurship. They are good in execution. They can make good decisions. Even Sattva-gun people can take much better decisions than Rajogun people. Because Sattva-gun people their mind is on a calm side. So Sattva-gun people take much better decisions than Rajogun people, Rajas people, right? But when it comes to putting energy, leading the things, they really do well. People with high Rajas. Childhood indicators, if we see, such children usually like winning competitions. They will put in their best to win some competition. They always want to be first. They will enjoy the leadership roles. They are energetic and action oriented, right? So these are the childhood characteristics or the indicators which you can look at. Then comes career options. Children who are really good, who have high rajas in them, career options like starting something of their own, like starting their own startup or becoming an entrepreneur or business person could be suggested. Getting into business management roles, doing a BBA, MBA, and then becoming a CEO of a company, strategy consultant, management consultant, those career options could be suggested. Going for a leadership roles like becoming an IS officer, okay. Technology, can get into technology, lead products, technological products, like becoming a product manager. Okay. They can also do very well in the field of media, journalism, public relations, advertising, all these options. Right? So these are the careers in which they usually do very well. People who have high Rajogun in them. Then third is, now let's move to the third aspect, which is the tamas. When we say tamas, what are the key traits? These children you will find very patient, practical, they prefer routine, okay, work steadily, they follow instructions. They don't like to give instructions, they are good in following instructions. They are very loyal and dependable. Okay. Now, if you look at the natural strengths, they do really good in operation roles. Roles which are very technical and execution oriented, ki step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. That kind of role, jahan pe aapko process oriented work hai, वो वैसे career options में they will do very well. They also carry skilled craftsmanship. That is, they're really good at some of the skills. Either they can be good in coding, they can be good in operations. Right. So these are some of the natural strengths. If we look at childhood indicator for such children, these children will prefer clear-cut instructions. You have to give them very precise instructions so that they will follow it. They don't put a lot of brain over there, but they will follow the instructions. They are very consistent in their work. These people don't like too much change. बहुत ज़्यादा change वो accept नहीं कर पाते. They want a very predictable life. They do very good with repetitive tasks. Those careers where you have to do a repetitive kind of job, where every day the task is almost same. In those careers, they will really do good. And if you look at the career options which are associated with these, are getting into technical execution, getting into IT execution, operations, government services, logistics, healthcare support, right? So these are the different career options in which the child can get into if the Tamo factor is on a higher side. Right? So we also need to look at these three temperaments of the child, whether the child is more a Satogun type of child or it's a combination of Rajogun and Tamogun. So usually you'll find two dominating gunas. Either it could be Sato plus Tamo. So that we have to figure out by observing the child, asking a lot of questions to the child. There is a proper assessment questionnaire which we do with our clients, where we ask the child to fill that questionnaire so that it gives us an idea that what type of gun the child is carrying. So this is the second aspect which I wanted to cover. Is it clear till now? Just give me a yes in the chat box. Are you finding this session valuable? Are you finding this session valuable? The time which you are spending here with me, are you getting the knowledge which can help you to make an informed career decision for your child? Just give me a yes. Dipesh says yes, Maitri says yes, Ashwin says yes. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, let's move to the third framework, third parameter, which I wanted to cover with all of you, and then we'll open today's session for the Q&A round. Third thing is, we'll look at some of the frameworks which you as a parent could use on a day-to-day basis. And I hope you all are making notes, as I mentioned in the starting as well. I hope you all are making notes. So let's look at some common frameworks which you can use in finding the child's interest. First is Ikigai module. If this is a very good book, you can read a book named Ikigai. So 3 questions which you can constantly keep asking. What does the child loves to do? मेरा बच्चा क्या चीज बहुत ज्यादा enjoy करता है? He or she really loves to do that. What is that one thing? Second is the child really good at it? Suppose the child may love to sing, but the second question we need to ask whether the child is really good at singing or not. Yeah. So that's the second thing. What my child is really good at. And third is whether the world needs this. Whatever the child loves to do and the child is really good at, is there a demand for this particular thing in the world or not? If there is a demand and the child loves to do and is really good at, definitely there will be a profession and the child can create a good profession out of it and earn very well, right? So that's the first framework which you can use, the Ikigai model, What does your child loves to do? What is your child really good at? And what does the world need? Okay, you can write these three questions in your notebooks as well. Also, you can have a parent observation checklist. Few observations you can constantly keep on noting. Okay, what are these checklists? So first question could be, what topics child talks most about? What are the topics about which the child mostly have the conversation on? Is it technology? Is it spirituality? Is it about space? Is it about chemistry? Is it about geopolitical situation which is going on? Is it about designing and drawing? What are the topics about which constantly the child, talks about the most? Keep observing, keep observing. That will also give you some clues about कौन सा career option को हम later on align कर सकते हैं बच्चे को. Second is, what type of videos the child watches voluntarily. Okay. What type of videos the child prefers to watch? What kind of movies the child prefers to watch? Whether the movies are more documentary kind of movies or more of a thriller kind of movies or realistic based movies or autobiographical types of movies, right? That also indicates some parameters about the career inclination of the child. It gives us an idea about what kind of personality the child carries. Third is, what child learns without pressure. आपको उसके पीछे लगना नहीं पड़ता है, आपको उसको बार बार रिमाइंड नहीं कराना पड़ता है, वो बच्चा नेचुरली उस चीज को बहुत आसानी से सीख लेता है. वो क्या चीजें हैं जो बच्चा आसानी से नेचुरली सीख लेता है? कीप ऑब्जर्विंग दैट, राइट? What child learns without pressure. Fourth is, what does the child love to do in his or her free time? जब भी फ्री टाइम बच्चे को मिलता है वो क्या करता है? Observe that. Fifth is, what child does better than their peers? अपने फ्रेंड्स से ज्यादा बेहतर तरीके से बच्चा क्या कर रहा है? What are the things the child is doing much better than his or her peers? It means definitely the child has some aptitude in that particular thing, right? That's why he's doing better than his or her peers. Sixth is, what type of problems the child enjoys to solve. What type of problem the child enjoys to solve. And I will also show you what are the different types of problems. Hold on to that question. Then comes whether the child prefers people, ideas, or things. Whether the child loves to interact with people, that is something. Whether the child is more of a people-oriented kind of person, or the child is more of an intellectual kind of child who is working on ideas, or the child loves to work on some things, either it be a machine or an electronic item, or working with some kind of instruments, right? So that's a representation. कि mental work, intellectual kind of careers ज़्यादा suitable रहेंगे या mechanical kind of careers ज़्यादा suitable रहेंगे या फिर बच्चे के लिए people oriented careers ज़्यादा suitable होंगे, right? So that idea we can get from there. So question number 7. Eighth is, activities that leaves your child energized. What are those activities after doing that the child's energy elevates? So suppose the energy of the child is here. After doing that particular activity, after the child has done this activity, the energy of the child has risen above. What are those activities? Just keep observing. Okay, like for somebody it could be coding. After they have created, like done a very good coding, and they have solved some problem using codes, they feel very energized and enthusiastic about it, right? So वैसे क्या एक्टिविटीज हैं जो बच्चे की एनर्जी लेवल को हायर साइड पे शिफ्ट कर देता है? बी ऑब्जर्वेंट ऑफ दैट, राइट? देन कम्स ninth is, activities where the child loses the track of time. Child loses the track of time. Child lose the track of time. Okay, कि समय कैसे बीत गया ये पता नहीं चल पाता है बहुत बार, है ना? वो हमें पता नहीं चल, बच्चा इतना ज्यादा इनग्रॉस हो गया है उस एक्टिविटी में कि उसे पता ही नहीं कि कैसे 2 घंटे निकल गए, 4 घंटे निकल गए. तो ऐसी कौन कौन सी एक्टिविटीज है जहां पे बच्चा कंप्लीटली इनग्रॉस हो जाता है, राइट? So these are some of the questions which you as a parent could ask frequently and could observe. No need to ask these questions, keep observing these things. Okay. This will also help you to narrow his or her career selection. Okay. So this is the second thing which you as a parent could use as a framework. Third is problem solving orientation. We talked about this on the question number 6. What type of problems child enjoys solving? So there could be different types of problem solving. Okay. If suppose the child likes to solve technical problems, maybe engineering could be a suitable career option. If the child loves to solve people problems, something in the field of psychology and human resources could be much beneficial for him or her. If the child loves to solve business problems, getting into the field of entrepreneurship, doing a BBA and MBA, that route will be more suitable. If the child loves to solve creative problems, getting into the field of design makes more sense. If the child loves to solve social problems, getting into civil services, working with CSR department of organizations, becoming an IAS officer, all those options could be more relevant for the child. If the child loves to solve scientific problems, getting into research and development, into scientific research and development, that would be a good career option, right? So again, problem solving orientation has to be studied for the child कि बच्चा किस तरह के problems को ज़्यादा solve करना चाहता है, right? And then, so this is again one of the frameworks which you as a parent could use while making a career decision for your child. And then comes fourth point, which is the feedbacks. Very important. What kind of feedback your child is receiving? What kind of good feedbacks your child is receiving? What the child is really good at? Whether the child is and from where you are receiving these feedbacks? You are receiving these feedbacks from family members, teachers, relatives, friends, genuine people who are constantly telling that, hey, your child is really good in leadership skills. Hey, your child is really good in leadership skills. Or your child is really good in communication. Or your child is really good in innovation or creativity or sports. So be observant of feedbacks which your child is constantly receiving, because that is a strong indicator which will show you what the natural strength of the child is. Okay. And all these frameworks which I have shared, problem solving orientation, parents observation checklist, and Ikigai, these are just, you need to observe all these factors, okay, on a regular basis, and you will start figuring, narrowing things down. ठीक है, बच्चा हो सकता है आपको बोले कि आज ये बोल रहा है कि this is what I like, 6 months down the line the interest may change, but you as a parent could observe कि these are the constant patterns which your child carry, and accordingly you can eliminate the career options which are not aligning with him, right? So that's how, these are some of the frameworks which could be used while making the career decision. So quickly, before we wrap up, it's already 8:57. Just to quickly summarize what we covered in today's session. First, we understood how to understand the aptitude, personality, and the interest of the child. Aptitude means natural ability of the child. 5 parameters we looked at: numerical, verbal, mechanical, special, and reasoning. These are the 5 parameters which we need to check. Second, we looked at the personality of the child. Personality means how does the child think, feel, and behave? Again, within that, we saw different orientations: personality orientation, how is the learning orientation, conscientiousness, emotional orientation of the child, attitudinal orientation of the child, and interpersonal orientation. So that's the second thing we covered. Third, we covered how to understand the different interests. Interest means natural selection towards something. Okay. Within that, we saw different interest styles: artistic interest, investigative interest, social interest, enterprising interest, conventional interest, and realistic interest. Then we looked at, it's important for us to consider all three, because the right career lies at the center of all three. A right career lies somewhere here. We saw that as well. It's a combination of aptitude, right aptitude, personality, and interest. Okay, here lies a right career option. Okay. Then we saw about how to understand the Vedic way of career selection. How earlier the career used to be decided. It was decided based on the good of that particular child. So we saw Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. These are the three gun which we need to analyze. Sattva means what are the key traits we saw there, that the child is more thoughtful, loves to have meaningful conversations, calm. We saw the natural strengths of the child who are in Sattva mode. What are the childhood indicators and what are the career options in that? Again, we saw the same for Rajas, and we also saw that for the Tamas. Okay, what are the natural strengths? What are the key traits? And then we saw some general frameworks which you as a parent could use. First is the Ikigai model, what your child loves to do, what the child is really good at, and what does the child need. Second is you can have this parent observation checklist where you can keep asking these questions to yourself and constantly observing your child. Then we also saw problem solving orientation, what type of problems your child loves to solve. And we also saw we should be constantly aware of what kind of feedback your child is getting. What are the good feedbacks or the compliments your child is constantly receiving? And all these things together will help you to narrow down and come to a right career selection for your child. Okay. So this is what I wanted to cover in today's session, almost exact 1 hour done. If we have any queries, maybe we can take a couple of your questions and then we can wind up today's session. So if you have any questions, what you can do is you can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, hi Samrit, Saurabh here.
Hi, Saurabh. Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah, just quick questions. How you are going to integrate these states and say the psychological one and the approach towards the conventional way of finding tamas and all those guna, and then how I'm say do you any model which integrate all these three and gives you the output, or we have to do it different level and then integrate the parents feedback and parents observation and then
Yes.
come out with the option? How do you integrate? What's your
Perfect.
approach there?
So how we do is for the aptitude, personality, and an interest, we have a psychometric assessment test. Okay. There we get an idea about the aptitude, personality, and the interest of the child. In order to understand the Satogun, Rajo, or Tamas gun of the child, we have a assessment framework which the child has to give. It's a Google-based framework which we have created. On that basis, we come to know that the Satogun is on a higher side and passion is on a higher side. So that's the second assessment which we do. Third is so this is the assessment aspect. Third aspect is the one-on-one counseling session where we ask a lot of questions to the parent and the child together. Okay. And then we try to decode and align this, whatever the feedbacks we have received from the assessment. Also, we take into consideration the date of birth of the child. Based on the date of birth of the child, we can come to know what kind of temperament the child is carrying and which career will be more aligning. So as a career counselor, we expertise in all these frameworks and then we integrate it together. As a parent, for you, it could be difficult to integrate all three things together. Yeah. But we take into consideration all these parameters before guiding ki kya career option aapke liye zyada aligned
Okay, my one more question is, I'm saying, when do you think this is the right time for this kind of a test? Like for my son who's going from 9 to 10th now, I'm 10th just about to start.
Yes.
Is it the right time or let the
Yes.
time go
This
by?
is the perfect
I'm saying,
time.
when is the right time?
This is the perfect time.
Okay.
9th to 10th. 9th to 10th, when the child is moving, once the child has given the test, okay, and gone through the session, it also gives the counselor and the student a time to explore few options, because hoga kya na ki the counselor will guide the child through some of the exploration part कि आप ये भी चेक करो, ये भी चेक करो, ये भी चेक करो, ठीक है, then come for a second session, right? So it gives the student a time to do that exploration. Problem वहां पे होती है जब 10th के end में आते हैं और suddenly पूछते हैं कि क्या करना है, वो पैनिक डिसीजन मेकिंग होता है, राइट? वहां पे बच्चा एक्सप्लोर ही नहीं कर पाता है, उस समय सिर्फ ये होता है कि अभी हमें स्ट्रीम सेलेक्ट करना है तो आप जल्दी से बता दो, बट दैट इज नॉट द करेक्ट टाइम. द करेक्ट टाइम इज actually the career process should start from class 8th and 9th starting onwards. The exploration should start from that time, okay? But 9 to 10th is a very good time to go ahead.
Then your one-on-one sessions are physical or online? And so how
online,
do you do that?
Online.
Okay.
Yeah. So after COVID, we have shifted the entire model online. So we cater across India. Our clients are from Mumbai, from Pune, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Noida. So it's completely online.
Okay.
Everything is online.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Maitri, if you can unmute yourself. Sorry, by mistake I muted you. If you can unmute yourself once again.
Hi, Samrit.
Hi, yeah, please say.
My son has written his 10th exam now.
Okay.
But basically, like whatever I heard in your session, right?
Yeah.
With that, I could make out that he's more onto this Rajas and Tamas combination. So it's like even he wants to, he's very good in coding, and when he's doing that coding and doing some app or something, he almost loses the time. He doesn't know, like, okay, he has spent so much of time, and he's very good in troubleshooting, and he wants to lead. Leadership qualities are there, but at present we have just put him in this science branch, means PCMC.
Okay.
And we have just given him that JE also for him. But now it's like I have a question. Saying that, like,
Yes.
what's the career that he has to get into now? But it's like, and he loves to lead any project. He guides, he does everything on his own. The leadership skill is also very good. But now we have put him in this PCMCS branch, means that's the course that he has taken now.
Okay.
So, like, I think so it's too late for me to get into this, right? Like, means I was not knowing this, so maybe it's the time. Like, now he has written his 10th exam and got enrolled in the college also.
Okay. Okay.
So what should I do now?
So see, but still, if you feel that this will help you and help you make a more informed decision, don't second thought on that. Okay. Because अगर आप इसमें if the child has already invested 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, then it becomes difficult because a lot of money and everything goes waste. We have seen this happening on a frequent basis. So this is also a good time, so that it may happen that what you are thinking and what the test reports come, they can be in alignment also, right? So that will give you a double tap that yes, what you have chosen is correct. But after going today's session, if you feel that no, you are confident enough what you have chosen for your child, then that's fine also. Yeah. But it's good to have the psychometric assessment done.
Okay.
Right. So I come from an engineering background. I was stuck into a wrong career for almost 8 years. I've worked with Tata Power, I've worked with Accenture Strategy, worked in India and abroad, and I was frustrated in my career. And that's where my journey of career exploration started, that what I truly want to do. And then when I came through all these assessments, different assessments, my liking, my astrological report, my date of birth report, everything aligned me towards education and teaching.
Okay.
And the same method I just give back to the students and the parents, ki use this because it works. Right. So,
okay. So how should I approach this? How should I get into
so you
this?
can reach out to my team. Just you can share, just ping us on the number that yes, we want to proceed for the career counseling session, and my team will connect and they will share with you what the process is and what the next steps are. Do you have the number?
No, I don't have the number. It would be fine if you can just share it in the group. Means like share me also, it's fine.
Yeah. So here we let me just pull out the number. So these are the two numbers on which you can connect to my team. And will be happy to guide you and your child. You can just note this down. Okay. I have put that in the chat box. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Fine.
Perfect. Thank you.
Get in touch. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Perfect. So thank you so much for joining in today's session. I hope the session was useful. You got some idea what are the things we need as a parent need to take into consideration when we are going for the career selection for our child. If you have any queries, you can reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. And definitely, this is a 5-session series which we are running. Okay, so 3 more sessions are yet to come. Okay, so the message will be shared with you regarding the next sessions on the group. So please be keep checking the WhatsApp group. We have 3 more topics which are coming up. Let me share with you what the topics are. So one of the topics will be what are the careers beyond engineering, chartered accountancy, MBBS, where I will be going through career options in humanities, commerce and science, new age career options kya kya hai. I will be sharing that in one of the sessions. Again, one session is on how AI will change careers in next 20 years. Okay, so that's one session. And the scientific 5-step framework to choose the right career selection for your child. So these are some of the options. These are some of the the sessions which are yet to come. Okay, stay tuned with our WhatsApp. Perfect. So thank you. All the best and good night. Take care.